What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Apologies, it's been a while since an update, but I've just been busy with a raft of different things, but we have been making progress. There's also been a slight change to plan. As you remember, the plan was for the VR5 to go into my compact, but to be perfectly honest, I've been having a bit too much fun in the compact. I don't want to get it off the road and not have a drift car that I can use, so I'm going to continue to use that as the practice car and then put the VR5 in the 36. So initially the plan was literally just to bolt the engine in and get it mapped, see how it all works and take it from there. But I had a quick look over the 36 and it needed a bit of love, so I've took all the wings and the other fenders and stuff off, and there's little bits of rust which need addressing. I've taken off kind of the heat shielding, and there's again that's a surface rust there, but this needs sorting. So then I took off all the suspension and brakes and stuff, and then the rear axle, subframe, etc, etc. Now I don't know if you can make it out, but there's a tiny teeny little crack there, so I'm going to weld it up and I'm going to make some reinforcement plates for it. To be honest, when I actually ground back all this, it looked fine. It wasn't until I really started to take off some of the material that I actually noticed that crack. The others are fine. So I guess even on visual inspection, when you have a look at your rear subframe mounts, it's worth taking off all the rust and getting back to just metal, just to make sure there's no little cracks hiding underneath any of that surface rust. Obviously you took the tank and stuff out because I'm not sure how easy it is to see, but that brake line is completely corroded. So I'm going to run the brake lines through the car instead, makes it a bit easier, and then just come out at these points over here. That should simplify it. So yeah, what turned out as kind of a quick, inverted commas, kind of engine swaps turned out to not quite a rebuild, but a clean-up, should we say. Anyway, let's get the 36 higher in the air so I can show you the progress on the VR5. Give me 2 secs. It's a bit better. So, to all intents and purposes, it doesn't actually look that dissimilar to videos that I've posted in the past, but there's been quite a lot of work. So starting with the inlet manifold, it's all tacked together properly now. I've made some little mounts for the fuel rails and they're tacked in place, again just to make sure there's no clash of anything and just to make sure the final position is correct. I've also blanked off the end of the inlet manifold and started to weld in some fittings for vacuum lines and kind of brake vacuum lines as well. You can just see there's that water pipe that I've made, which is a bit of a hybrid concoction. So as you can see, there's not a lot of room back there for the original thermostat housing. So what I've done is basically taken this thermostat housing, which comes from a 3.6 Passat. Now I thought it would fit into where the water pump is, but it doesn't. So I've had to cut the end off, and then I'll get an end machined and then welded back onto this. And then obviously I've made this part here which comes out of the head, turns 90 degrees, goes into the outlet pipe and then through the thermostat, and then this part here will just come off and go into the top rudder hose, and then that one will go into the bottom rudder hose, and that's kind of the water system
sorted. I've got the oil filter housing from a Mark IV Golf platform, because the Passat ones are different. And then I've got an oil cooler on there as well. You can just see down there, this is the extra bit that I've made for the sump, because I've had to clearance it a little bit. You can just see there, I've had to clearance the sump for the subframe. So where I've reduced the capacity, I've added that little wing on the side to get the capacity back to where it should be. And on this side of the sump, I've had to clearance it again for the subframe. And then that's just the oil drain for the turbo. Oh, as you can see, the engine mounts have now been made. And again, it's all quite tight down here. Tight for the steering column, tight for the starter motor, and the downpipe, as you can just see there, which actually should be sitting like so. What else? In terms of the inlet manifold, it sat very close to the belt tensioner. So what I've had to do, and it's not very pretty because this cast wasn't very nice to weld, I've had to basically move the mounts around and cock this slightly further back just so it clears the inlet manifold. As you can see, it's still very, very tight, but it clears. So the next challenge is trying to work out the auxiliary belt routing, so to get it to miss the throttle body and still have enough tension around all the bits like the alternator and the power steering pump. I'm having to put a set of rollers there and probably one down there, just to again increase the friction on the power steering pump. In terms of that rad hose, it's probably going to come through here across, out here across, and then into the radiator bottom hose here, and then the other side will come kind of up and over into the top radiator hose here. What else? Exhaust manifold now is kind of fully welded, apart from it being welded to the flange. Wastegates in and on. I've started to make the downpipe so it clears the steering rack. Actually, I haven't actually tried it that way. Yeah, it clears the steering rack when it's fully over that way. And then the wastegate sits just here, and the dump for the wastegate will come kind of down an angle and then literally just join into the downpipe kind of about, I don't know, a third of the way down. I was going to do an exit to the floor or outside or something, but I'm just going to be quiet and respectful for tracks and just put it back into the exhaust stream and leave it at that. What else is there to report? I think that's it. So the last thing I need to do basically now is to finish the downpipe and obviously the wastegate dump. Then I can fully weld everything because I know everything in its final position is fine. And then once the downpipe's welded and everything else like the inlet manifold and stuff is welded, then I can take it out of this, stick it in there, finish the exhaust. I've got a bunch of 3-inch stainless over here. Finish the exhaust, and then obviously when it's in its final resting place in the 36, I've got a intercooler and radiator on order. So once that arrives, I can get it fitted in place. But so far so good. It is very tight up against the bulkhead, which is kind of what I wanted because I wanted it as far back as possible. But it does mean obviously like brake lines and stuff are going to be a little bit close. But the only real issue, well, it's not an issue, but the brake lines will run kind of across here, so it is a little close to the downpipe. But I'll either get it coated or just wrap it, thermal wrap it, and get some of the heat resistive tape and put it over the brake lines so it reflects any heat. But yeah, so far so good. I've also got an order some bush connectors, bulkhead connectors. So what I'd like to do is make the wiring as easy as possible and make it removable. So I've got those twist lock bulkhead connectors coming
just waiting on some pins. I think they're on back order, so it might still be a month or so. Also got the ECU Masters black ECU, so I'm kind of getting ready to wire that all in. Obviously I'm waiting for those bulky connectors, so I might just use block connectors to wire them in to begin with, and then when they come, kind of finish it and finalise it. But yeah, although it doesn't look like it, there has been masses of progress made. Hopefully the next video, everything will be welded up, and hopefully it will be in here. Again, there's a bit more work going into the 36 than I wanted to do, but it's kind of maintenance, so it has to get done. But it should be all good once it comes out. Like even like when I took the rear trailing arms out, the rear bushes were completely shot. So even things like the brake lines, I'm going to change all the brake lines and stuff, just so there shouldn't be any problems when it all goes back in. So yeah, finish up the engine stuff, get the engine in, weld up the mounts and put some reinforcements in, and then this can start going back together again. And the last piece of the puzzle is going to be getting it mapped, which I intend to do myself. What I'll do is I'll get a start map and a kind of idle cal done here, and then I'll take it to a dunner, probably rent one for a day, and then try my hardest not to blow it up, but we'll see. I think it'll be interesting content. It's a good way to learn how to do things, is by just jumping at the deep end and trying to figure it out. Fingers crossed it goes smoothly, but we'll see. But anyway, I think I've waffled on for long enough. That's kind of an update for now. As always, thanks for watching. And if you have enjoyed it, feel free to sub, share and like. And I'll catch you for the next one. Cheers, bye.